Hey there, so let's take a look. I think this one just kind of has large and terrible numbers. The first thing we want to do with any factoring problem is see if there's a GCF, and in this case there is. And it looks like 2 will go into everything, so let's get that out of the way. So give us a 20y squared there, 2 goes into 38 19 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. And so now I have that out of the way. I can see it has 3 terms, and for 3 terms we had kind of 3 choices on how it might factor. If this was just a plain y squared in front, then that's great. That's the kind where we just set up the parentheses to figure out what multiplies the end and adds to the middle. If it had squares on the ends, that would be like, excuse me, 7.3, where we can use the formula and it comes out to one of those a plus or minus b quantity squared ones. And this is the other one. So this is the end of 7.2, and these are probably the hardest of the factoring problems. For this one, I'll use AC method. So I'm going to go 20 times 3, and that's going to get me 60, and that's my A times my C right there. And then kind of like the easier ones, now I have to say what multiplies to be 60 and adds to be 19. It can be hard to spot that number. If you get stuck and you can't quite see where to go, just start the list. So I could try 1 and 60. 1 plus 60 makes 61, so I'm not too close there. I could try 2 and 30, so that would be 32. I'm getting closer. I could try 3 and 20. And you can see I'm just trying numbers until I hit the one that works. For things that divide in, 3 and 20 would be 23, so very close but not quite. And if I go 4 into 60, that one goes 15 times. And so that's going to be the numbers I'm going to use to get this factored. I am going to just draw myself a little arrow on that 2 and then not write it for a minute, just because it makes it visually easier to kind of keep track without all the parentheses. So once I have these numbers, I'm going to rewrite that 19 as 4y plus 15y. I could also write it in the other order. The order doesn't matter at all. You'll come out with the same answer. But so this would be 20y squared and then plus 4. That's not a very good 4. 4y plus 15y plus 3. And now it's kind of like the 7-1 problems where I got 4 terms and I can use grouping. So out of the 20y squared, sorry about that, the 20y squared and the 4y, I can factor out a 4y. Would be my greatest common factor. And that will leave me 5y plus 1. Once I get that 5y plus 1, I'm going to get another one, so I'm just going to write it down, and that will help me make sure that I factor the right thing out here. So to get to here, I would need to factor out a 3. And then now this is my common factor, so I will bring that out front, 5y plus 1, and then it leaves behind the 4y plus 3. And then I'm not going to forget that 2 out there. It's just if you keep writing it, then you have like all these double parentheses, and it just gets a little harder to see what's going on with it. So that is one way to do that problem. The alternative, let me go ahead and write this, down right here. And I think I showed both of these in the 7.2 video in terms of methods for solving. And they each kind of have their own confusing bit. But I could also do the thing where this is the magic method. This one's AC, and this other one is called magic, where you just write 20y and then you duplicate that 20, knowing that you're kind of putting in an extra factor. But it is still it's gonna work out because we're gonna divide it out here in a second. This process where we do what multiplies to 20 and adds to be 3 would be exactly the same. We still have to figure out the 60 and that the 4 and the 15 are the right numbers. But now I can just drop those in there, 4 and 15. And then because I have an extra 20 roaming around in there, I need to divide out the common factor in each of these terms here. So this side, 20 and 4, I can reduce out of 4. And on this side, 20 and 15, I can reduce out of 5, and that 4 times 5, that's the extra 20. So 4 goes into 25y, 4 goes into 4 once, so there's that factor, and 5 goes into 24y, and 5 goes into 15 3 times. So for me, I actually like this method better, but people sometimes have a little bit of trouble with that step and remembering it. So either way that you want to solve it is good. You can either do AC method or you can do magic method, but that's kind of the way that you have to do these when this term out front isn't a perfect square and isn't a 1. That's how you know you're at the end of 7-2 and you have to use one of those two methods. Hopefully that helps.